Over these last 6 years, I have lost a lot of sympathy and empathy. Quite frankly, I really don't have much of any to give. I've really decided that I'm blessed to have my mom and my dad in my life. And quite frankly, those are really the only two people right now that I'm even capable of doing that for. And honestly, sometimes not even that. My life has really been just a series of so many unfortunate events that have most always just been out of my control. Despite all of that, growing up, I was always Mr. Nice Guy. I always wanted to be the guy who could go out and talk to people, and I wanted to help people. I wanted to get to know people and be able to counsel people. When I was in school, I was actually one of those guys that people would come to and vent to, and people always felt like they could come to me and find comfort, advice, and solace. And for the longest, I was fine with that. But then I started to realize that most of those people were straight up just taking advantage of me. And really, when I look back, it happened to be a lot of girls that I liked at the time. Like, this was such a strange phenomenon. Like, these girls would know that I liked them, but would come to me with all their relationship problems. And here I was, simp of the year, trying to guide them through their relationships and just this corny stuff that I look back on now, and it kind of makes me sick that that's what I was doing. But despite figuring out and realizing that these people were just taking advantage of me when they came to me for this advice that they were never going to follow, I still continued to say, look, I can't let these people who are taking advantage of me give me a negative worldview. And so I persisted. And, you know, I really clung on to Christianity at one point. And I thought maybe, you know, this will be the place that I belong. You know, I will be able to join the church and get involved in all of that. And even that experience was just really more negative in the long run. When you go to church, it just is an act, just like everything else. Work, church, school, friendships, relationships, you name it. It was just an act, just like everything else. And that was another part of my waking up journey, was going to church and being treated like a total outsider and being like, wow, like I placed way too much faith into these church people, thinking, you know, this is where I'm going to belong. These people are going to be my community. These people are where I can grow. But alas, it wasn't, because I am way beyond just my head being in the Bible, being in the Word. I see things for what they really are. And I know it's like a cliche term, but genuinely, like, I've woken up in such a way that it's actually difficult to enjoy life. It's difficult to find things that are fun. It's difficult to enjoy the presence of people because everything is fake. Everything feels so fake. I just watched this video of this guy breaking down the Truman Show. And man, the Truman Show is amazing. The way that it depicts waking up. And it's so relatable because, you know, everything is manufactured. We manufacture our lives. You know, we put on different masks to be around different people in different places. And nobody really knows our authentic selves other than people that we've spent our entire lives with. And that's why I say with my mom and my dad, they're the only two people who know my authentic self. And that's why I only caring about them. During COVID, that was really, truly the actual beginning of me being like, okay, there's more to this story. There's more to this life than trying to be the nice guy who does all these things for everybody, who wants to be politically correct, who doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. I want to try to just be smooth. I don't want anyone to think negative about me. I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be hated. That was me forever until COVID. And again, like with the series of unfortunate events, well, get this, 2020, March 16th, my birthday, was when the entire world shut down. Yes, on my birthday. Now, if that doesn't wake a motherfucker up, I don't know what does. And then shortly after that, 5-year relationship blasted, gone because of cheating during COVID. I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? That totally disillusioned me. It was the first time I've ever experienced something like that out of the longest relationship I had ever had. And it made me look at all of my own flaws. It also made me look at relationships and women in a totally different light. Because I was always taught, and we were all taught growing up, women are supposed to be these perfect angels, right? They're princesses, and we should provide for them and treat them like the queens, and we're the king, and like all of that propaganda is just, it's all bullshit. And that moment actually really hardened my heart. But it really wasn't the end. It really wasn't the end. Once I moved back with my dad, we had a family friend who said, hey, I will literally gift you my mobile home. Now I knew it was too good to be true. And I told my dad, look, this is outrageous. Nobody just does this. I don't care how much friend of the family you are. Like, that's outrageous. But I was in it for the ride with my dad because that's about all I had. And so we get into this mobile home and turns into a whole scam where she never leaves. We're getting harassed, police called, restraining orders, court. By the end, everybody loses. She loses the mobile home. We lose the mobile home. We get a little bit of money out of it. That's it. But that moment, the mobile home situation was the final nail in the coffin, which just broke me, man. That totally took any sympathy and empathy left that I have. And mind you, this is all in the same couple years, from COVID, getting cheated on, to being in this mobile home situation. All this was in the span of a couple years. And it broke me, man. It destroyed any semblance of wanting to be a nice person that I had left. And so it sucks because I want to be a good Christian or whatever. Do I? Honestly, not really, but I do, right? That's what we're supposed to do. I don't know. Are we? So many people are just the worst kind of people, and they're fine with it. And from then on, I've had different relationships with different women, and just bad women who are scandalous. I've seen some scandalous shit, or just with women who are just retarded and honestly just straight up don't know how to treat a man. They're just like barely human. It's weird. It's honestly weird. It's like having a pet, you know? And so I'm just done. I'm done. Like, you know, I spent the first, I don't know, 25 years of my life, maybe 23, trying to be this nice guy who wants to go to church, who wants to be a Christian, you know, who wants to help people. I wanted to be a psychologist at one point, and, you know, I was always told, like, all these nice things about myself, but people just used me, took full advantage of me to do this, to do that, and there was never a reward. Like, I have nothing to show for anything that I've done, and I've been a part of crazy stuff, been around thousands of people, met so many people, and I have nothing to show for it but just me being here and saying, look, I don't care anymore. I don't care if I'm an asshole. I don't care how people perceive me. You know, I tell people no. You know, nobody's my friend. I don't want to give anybody the benefit of the doubt. To me, everyone else is just bad people too. You know, at this point, people got to prove to me that they even matter. Because, quite frankly, nobody fucking matters to me. And that's fine. You know, if I go out alone like this, call it what you want, bitter, cynical, you know, all these names that they got for it, fuck it. You know, there's no reward because people are just there to take advantage. Everybody has an agenda. They want to get something, or they're just straight up fake and pretend. Like, work people is a great example. Like, that is absolutely not who that person is, whoever you're working with. And I just don't have the desire to talk to anybody. I've completely shut off at work. You know, I make jokes here and there with my guys, but, you know, I used to try to introduce myself to all the new servers and bussers that would come in and stuff, and, you know, try to get to know people's names and, you know, maybe form some friendships along the way, but I don't give a fuck about that anymore. None of these people come in and greet me, try to make friends with me, try to learn my name. You know, it's just look at me. Like, who's that? I've always been the guy to approach people and introduce myself and try to be friendly. Nobody fucking does that for me. Like, nobody else does that. So why should I anymore? And, you know, some might say, well, you know, you got to be the one to do that because, you know, if no one else does it, then it's no... I don't give a fuck about these people, quite honestly. If somebody does approach me, that means they're worth my time. Whether it's a male or a female, it doesn't matter. But if you are actually like, hey, I'm so-and-so, and you're actually a nice person, you're pleasant and kind, well, that says a lot to me about your character and where you are in life. But otherwise, I don't have the desire to be nice to anybody, to be sympathetic, to care. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about you. One other thing with work, I remember I missed work one day because I didn't know I was actually scheduled. I didn't show up. Nobody even called me to check if I was okay. Like, you know, they were just like, well, they just assumed that, you know, I probably didn't know I was scheduled, so they didn't even bother checking. Come on. So, with that being said, I'm a cold-ass motherfucker now. I'm cold-hearted now. And I'm going to be a dick. I'm going to be an asshole. Because that feels better now. That's more satisfying than trying to be Mr. Nice Guy. Oh, tell me about your feelings. I'm there for you. There. Ah, fuck you. I don't care if you're sad. I don't care about your feelings. Like, I don't care about your life. I don't care about anything except me my mom and my dad. And once they're gone, well, I don't know what, man. But this world has made me cold, man. And, COVID closing everything literally on my birthday and everything else that transpired after that is like some made for TV movie shit, man. It's actually crazy. The amount of adversity I've experienced since 2020 and how I've really learned a lot about people's true mentality. And it's disappointing. I wish I was retarded. I wish I was a normie. Go watch my shitty movies. Go watch my shitty sports. Talk about fantasy football and shit. Watch my shitty TV shows. Like, it would be nice to kind of just be like that. Well, let me just be like everybody else. But at this point, it's like impossible now. Once you see, you can't unsee. And honestly, it's kind of a fate worse than death.